Paradoxically, the place where I find myself most at peace is a place that drives a good portion of society insane. Call me crazy, but I don't mind being bumped by a drink cart, getting packed in like a sardine, or even having to tolerate the whine of spinning turbines. Rather, I enjoy life at 35,000 feet more than pretty much anything else in the world. The opening of the spoilers, devices meant to slow the aircraft on approach and landing, is the first thing to grab my attention. This occurrence is unusual at cruising altitude. Maybe there's a glitch with the computer-based fly-by-wire controls that's causing an undesired flap response. No. Any 737-200 like this one would have wing surface controls that are directly connected by cables to the yoke. Fly-by-wire controls will only be featured on the 737's next iteration, the 737 MAX, which commercially debuts in 2017. Maybe the pilot nicked the flap lever? No, only a serious tug of the lever could elicit a complete response from the airframe, one that a capable pilot could easily fix. Something else is wrong. Right on cue, a flight attendant rushes down the aisle, ducking into the cockpit. Adrenaline begins to pump through my body as the only logical situation pops into my head: loss of the pilot. My fears are confirmed as the flight attendant helps a violently coughing captain from the cockpit, resting him in a seated position by the exit door. Gasps and screams of terror ring throughout the fuselage. Unfazed, I unbuckle my seatbelt, climb over my father and brother, and stride down the aisle. I approach the flight attendant, who is kneeling next to the captain. Her face is pale, and her eyes are wide as she looks at me. From her lips, she croaks, "Can you fly this thing?" I don't respond. I simply nod once. I can hear the cabin stir behind me as I approach the cockpit door. Suddenly, a faceless man in the front row stands and begins chanting, "Kobe, Kobe, Kobe." The rest of the passengers follow suit, their chants building in spirit. I throw my hands up in triumph, but at that moment, everything becomes hazy and my field of vision darkens. "Kobe, wake up. You're gonna miss the landing," says my dad, rousing me from my deep sleep. Ah, a dream. 'Twas only a dream. Although this dream was concocted by my spirited imagination, my passion for airplanes could not be more real. I have spent an immeasurable amount of time learning about and obsessing over airplanes, reading technical papers, subscribing to aviation blogs, and even practicing my flying abilities on full-fledged flight simulators. Planes are my life, my passion, and my future. It's not just the thrill of being in the air that fuels my passion, but also the study of the industry. Did you know that Boeing's 2013 market outlook suggests that by the year 2032, 16,000 new single-aisle aircraft will be needed to cover the rapid expansion of air travel in less developed countries? These kinds of facts are the ones that keep me up at night. Although I don't often experience the thrill of flight, keeping planes close to my heart is enough to hold me over between my dates with the sky. Ultimately, my passion stems from the fact that nowhere else in the world can I experience the same incredible emotions that I can on one of these metallic birds. Only on a plane can I get the feeling I am being removed from my troubles, being granted a clean slate almost instantaneously. Only on a plane can I experience power and insignificance at the same time. And only on a plane can I almost touch the stars. Without airplanes, my life would be incomplete. Without airplanes, I would never feel truly at home. So here in the US, when you go to apply for college, you have to write something called a Common App essay. That essay is supposed to help inform the admissions officers on, kind of who you are as a person and whether or not you'd be a good fit for their school. And what I just read you was my Common App essay. I wrote that thing about a decade ago. At the time, I really didn't have a good idea of how I was going to make aviation a part of my life and a part of my career. None of my friends and none of my family really cared that much about aviation. I was the only one. And obviously, as a kid, I didn't really have any industry ties. But I knew it was something that I wanted. I wanted aviation and aerospace and airplanes to be part of my future. And here we are 10 years later, and I've gone from having no one in my life who cared about aviation to a community of 100,000 people who I can share my passion with. And it just absolutely blows my mind. Building this channel up from scratch has been the most rewarding thing that I have ever done in my life, and every single one of you is helping me to realize that dream that I outlined back as a high school senior, back when I wrote that essay. I want to thank you all so much for helping me to reach this point. I'm not done. I've got a lot of exciting things planned ahead, and I'm absolutely ecstatic that you'll be joining me for that journey. So thank you all so much again for this milestone, and until I see you again, don't forget to look up.